Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay, here to talk a little bit about this current situation that is going on right now here in the United States, particularly centered around the state of Florida and Governor DeSantis battle that he's having out with the Disney Corporation, particularly the officials and the people at Disney World. Well, recently he put out this bill called the Don't Say Gay bill, basically prohibiting schools from teaching, LGBTQ education and about LGBTQ awareness to their students in Florida public schools, right? So Disney, of course, objects to this because Disney is ahead of the game when it comes to, advocacy for LGBTQ Americans. It's always really been ahead of the game. Even in the 90s, it got into this whole battle of the culture wars with the Southern Baptist Convention back when Michael Eisner was in charge of Disney. Well, now DeSantis is saying that he is going to revoke the special privileges status that Disney enjoys. Problem is, Disney is part of the main economy of the state of Florida. Disney is the economic engine that drives the state of Florida. It drives tourism in the state of Florida. So if you anger the people at this Mouse Corporation, this you know this big economic powerhouse, this big engine that drives the state economy, you can actually put the entire state in an economic depression. So, to put it bluntly, the Mickey Mouse organization is not just a Mickey Mouse organization. It is an economic powerhouse, and angering the House of Mouse, could actually cripple the state. So, what DeSantis is trying to do is to take away the special status of Disney, trying to go into a war with Disney over this Don't Say Gay bill. First of all, about the bill itself. Okay, the way the Republican Party and the right wing are framing this, because they're making DeSantis out to be like he's some kind of hero, like he's some kind of martyr for their culture war and everything. They're saying, well, he's trying to protect children from things like pedophilia or overly sexualization. They're making it out to seem like he's a real hero, and what the so-called LGBTQ awareness education is really sinister. But if you really look into it, what it basically is educating kids on different types of families, the different types of circumstances that other students that they may go to school with have in their lives. Like they may have two dads or they may have two mothers. It's not, as the Republicans see, they sexualize everything. They are suggesting, the right wing is, that this bill is going to, like, teach kids about sex, teach kids about all this kind of dirty, impure stuff, when in actuality, that's not what this bill is not doing that at all. This bill is just educating people on different types of families and different types of well-beings. There are many children that live in the state of Florida that they come from, backgrounds that have maybe two moms or two dads, or you know have parents that are gay, and they just want their point of view and their lifestyle reflected, and to teach tolerance and acceptance among kids, because a lot of times with kids, they don't really understand this kind of stuff. So if you don't educate them and make them become self-aware, they won't be, and it'll lead to a more ignorant, more intolerant, and a more hate-based society. So just introducing it is no big deal. DeSantis and them are on a moral crusade because they're trying to get the evangelical right on their side because DeSantis rather is trying to position himself for a run for the Republican nomination in 2024. Basically, what I said on Facebook, he's trying to out Trump. He's trying to do what Trump did, which was ignorant, the ignorant or the small-minded side of Trump, or go even worse, go on an even easier target than Mexican immigrants, something a little bit more visceral, something a little bit more hateful, and to attack the LGBT community through this kind of restrictive legislation and trying to paint it like the LGBTQ community is really sinister. That they're trying to sexualize children. Basically, the age-old homophobic stereotype that all gay people are out to make pedophile, are all pedophiles out to sexualize your children. That's basically what this kind of right-wing rhetoric, in support of this bill is doing. You know, there is this old stereotype, like I said, it's prevalent in our culture, and it's a homophobic stereotype that we were all brought up in a more homophobic time. A lot of us were brought up to believe that gay people were out to sexualize your kids. Oh, they're going to start teaching them about sex. Just this little benign stuff, educating kids about different types of families. Like Heather has two mommies or Jake has two daddies. That's really innocent, and that's really nothing really sinister in any sort of way. Not in my opinion, at least. So, Disney, of course, they employ a lot of LGBT people. They have a lot of LGBT people on their committee, and at first, and in their employ. At first, they didn't want to really rock the boat when it came to this. So Chapek, who's the head of Disney, came out and he kind of, skirted around the issue. But then DeSantis kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and then finally, Chapek said, "Okay, you want to play that game? Well, we'll revoke our contributions to you and to your party." And then now DeSantis counters back with him wanting to revoke the special privileges status that Disney enjoys, that it's basically enjoyed ever since it built the park back in the late 60s. So this should be an interesting war. It's funny to see it's funny to see Republicans, the right wing Republicans, their hypocrisy come out because they're always, they champion free speech, right? And now here's this bill that wants to limit free speech, you know, with regards to educating these kids. Don't say gay, don't say this. You can't teach this, you can't teach that. Well, what happened to free speech? Right? What happened to the marketplace of ideas that people like Dave Rubin are always just talking about? Dave Rubin himself, gay, right? But being a sellout, being a party puppet, being a person that is a political shill for the Republican Party and is only about this, the money. He doesn't even he supports this bill. What happened to the marketplace of ideas, Dave? What happened to putting all the ideas out there, putting all the thoughts and framework out there? And also, what happened to the ability for companies to exercise their own free will? I thought corporations were people too. Hello, Republican. Does anybody remember that bill that the Republicans put through in Congress a couple of years ago, where They pushed for Republicans, I mean, for corporations to have political speech, to have political say so. But I guess when it doesn't benefit your party, you're against it. You know what I mean? So this is the current situation that we find ourselves in. As far as my opinion, I don't have any problems with educating kids on different LGBT family, different LGBT types of families. Families come in all shapes and sizes and all forms. And this "Don't Say Gay" bill is bullshit, man. This is old-fashioned discrimination that I thought we moved past in the 2010s. And again, the hypocrisy, Republicans who are always for this type of, corporations giving political donations and all that. Now they're against corporations expressing themselves politically, saying Republicans actually coming out and saying that corporations like Disney have no right to weigh in politically. Usually it's the Democrats saying that. Usually it's the Democrats saying keep corporate money out of politics. Now all of a sudden the tables have turned and it's something that the Republicans are against, right? And it's DeSantis positioning himself for a 2024 run. And all of a sudden now corporations like Disney need to sit down and shut the hell up. And they don't have a say in politics because they're too large for their own good. Wow. I never thought I'd live to see the day that we'd have an anti corporate Republican Party or Republican candidate. So all of a sudden, acts like Citizens United doesn't matter because, oh, corporations are evil now. Oh, because now they're woke, quote unquote, just because you know they want to just educate and give the options out there and put the ideas out there. So all of a sudden now, the marketplace of ideas and the ability for corporations to represent their constituency doesn't matter. All of a sudden now, corporations are too powerful and too big. But I thought, DeSantis back during the COVID pandemic, he was giving special privileges to corporations. I thought certain corporations were essential businesses to the economy of the state of Florida. I suggest that DeSantis doesn't take this battle to its logical conclusions because, like I said, Disney is such a huge bringer in of revenue and tourism that this battle could cripple the entire state. And then what? You know what I mean? So if DeSantis had any brains and any sense in his head, he would stop this battle right now. Because so far, the House of Mouse, is undefeated in battle. Don Bluth took him on in the 70s. DreamWorks tried to take them on in the 90s. Warner Brothers has battled them for years. The Southern the Southern Baptist Leadership Conference battled them in the 1990s over this culture war. The mouse will reign supreme. So DeSantis is the rat versus the mouse. The rat DeSantis versus the mouse of power of Disney. So DeSantis, I suggest you back down, bro, because you're trying to out Trump and trying to be more of an ignoramus and more of a bigot than Trump. Peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button to see when my next video is coming out. I don't agree with this bill. I think this bill is going to lead to a chain reaction in other states of discriminatory bills against LGBT families. and try to roll back the clock socially in regards to the progress we've made towards, recognition of LGBT families. Peace.